Okay folks, here's a quick one for you on how to make homemade mayonnaise. The advantage is that you can use olive oil or avocado oil instead of refined vegetable oils. As we know, refined vegetable oils, when you have them in too high amounts, can cause problems. So making your own mayonnaise is a great way to reduce that. So anyway, first and foremost, most important thing is start with an egg at room temperature. It mustn't come out of the fridge because that won't help. It might cause it to curdle. Also, use an egg that is Lion branded, which means it comes from a chicken which has been vaccinated against salmonella. So I tend to use eggs from the supermarket. If your eggs are your own free range, then your chickens need to have been vaccinated as day-old chicks. It's really important to minimise the risks of salmonella from raw eggs. So let's get started. So one egg, room temperature. Break it into the bottom of a jug. Now the thing is, you don't have to have a stick blender. That's one of these things, but they are incredibly helpful. You can do this slightly different method by hand, but it's very laborious. So anyway, one egg, room temperature, half a teaspoon of mustard. Now I used mustard powder. Again, it's approximate, so half a teaspoon of that. If you haven't got dry mustard powder, you can use Dijon mustard. That's fine too. You'll need half a teaspoon of salt. So yeah, again, it's not exact, but half a teaspoon of salt and about tiny smidge, a pinch of black pepper. I use white pepper because you don't see the bits in it in the mayonnaise, keeps it lovely and light. Then I'm going to add 2 tablespoons of white wine or cider vinegar. I just like the white wine, it's a very neutral taste, nothing special. And then I'm going to pour on the top 250 mils of oil. Now, this is the only time I really use light in colour olive oil because it's virtually flavourless. Although my preference is actually just to use olive oil. Not extra virgin olive oil. For me, that tastes too green. But olive oil is fine. But if you're not used to olive oil, then I suggest you start with, it's called light in colour olive oil. So I'm going to pour in 250 mils. It's very approximate, but that's about as much as this little stick blender can handle in one go. So I'm going to drizzle that down the side of the jug here, on top of the egg and all the rest of it, and you'll see that the oil floats to the surface. Then I'm just going to put this stick blender, sometimes called an immersion blender, in down the bottom. Put it right down so it's sitting on the bottom of the jar, and then switch it on. Now you'll see that I'm going to very carefully start to raise this, but only when it's started to turn to mayonnaise at the bottom. So here's the noisy bit. I'm just going to lift it up very slightly and allow it to suck all the oil down. So we now have mayonnaise that's ready. Now this is quite thick actually, you can see it's sort of lovely thick consistency. If you wanted to, a little bit thinner, you could add a tablespoon of water, a tablespoon of lemon juice, just to sort of loosen it up slightly. I'll show you what happens. Okay, so that's it there. So you can see it's gone slightly lighter, slightly looser, and this would be the stage to adjust the seasoning if you feel it needs any more salt. So that's it. Put it into your storage jar and it'll last a few weeks in the fridge. It's quite nice. You can jazz it up. You can add other flavourings. So you could add garlic granules or fresh garlic, lemon juice. If you add lemons and chopped herbs and capers, you've got a fantastic tartare sauce. I like to sometimes add things like harissa paste or chipotle chili paste to make a lovely dip as well. Goes fantastic with avocados. So lots of things. And if you add tomato puree and lemon and other seasonings, you're going to have a Thousand Island dressing, which is lovely. So what might happen is that it can occasionally go wrong. Not often, but if it does, don't panic. What you'll end up with is a sort of a slightly separate liquid. It won't thicken. It's liquid and you can see it's sort of slightly grainy. But we can use this again. We'll recycle this. Okay, so what we need is a completely clean, and this is really important. If you're starting again, you have to wash your equipment, because if you've got curdled mayonnaise on your stick blender, it's just going to start curdling again. So you would normally take your stick blender out of the curdle mixture, go and rinse it off. This hasn't curdled, but let's pretend it has. So I'm going to actually wash it thoroughly to get all the bits off before starting again with a clean container. Okay, right, so then you get another egg. One of these. So a fresh egg, room container, room temperature. Pop it in here. And I'm going to add a small amount of mustard again. Not too much, we've already got some in the mixture, but half a teaspoon will do. And a little bit of salt. The mustard is critical because it helps with the emulsification, so that's important. Then you get your clean stick blender and pop it in, and we're going to start the same principle, but instead of adding the oil on the top, we're going to dribble it down the side. Let's see if this works. Very, very slowly. This is when you've got to be careful not to burn out your stick blender. Mine's a really cheap one, and it only lasts a little while before it starts to get quite hot. But just keep doing this, agitating it, but go really slow. This is just coming in down the side. Dribble, dribble. So this has got 2 eggs worth of liquid in it now, so it's going to be a little bit more runny anyway, given that eggs are mostly water. I could keep going. But yeah, this is slightly more runny because it's got 2 eggs in it. But if I keep adding more oil, it just keeps going on and on. But the danger is you'll burn out your stick blender. So if you've got a food processor, use that method where you use the little inner bowl with a small blade. Otherwise, the blade won't make contact with the egg mixture. So the small blade and bowl inside, and then put your egg, mustard, vinegar in there, and then very slowly drizzle the oil down onto that as well. So there we go. You don't have to lose a curdled batch of mayonnaise, but hopefully it'll turn out looking like this.